Today I want to show you my favorite drill to master volley precision and accuracy, which should be the whole point of volleys. Volleys are not some big offensive power shot. Sometimes they can be. It's obviously a spectrum from defense to offense. But in general, the main benefit we're going to get from volleys in singles and doubles is placement and precision. They're kind of like a laser-guided missile that we're trying to lock into a specific spot on the court and use the time we've taken away from our opponents and also the geometrical advantage we've received by getting close to the net in our favor. If we can't control the direction and the placement, the depth and the pace and the angle of our volleys, there's really not much point in coming up to the net. It actually ends up being a liability. So this is going to seem unbelievably overly simplistic, and that's the point. There are three main variables that we need to master to have precise volleys. Number one is the angle of the racket face. Number two is the firmness of our hand. And number three is the quality of contact. Where exactly on the racket face is the ball hitting? If we don't have great awareness and precision and control over all three of those things, then we will not have precision and control over where the ball goes. So the drill, and I just did this with a student. The drill, I demonstrated this first. The drill that I had the student do was stand right up next to the net, turn 45 degrees to the side, open the racket face up slightly. And so I'm right now for this first progression, I'm just arm's length away from the net. I could literally reach out with my racket and tap the net. And I place students all the way up here on purpose so that they trust the process a little bit more. So they're not so worried about whether or not the ball will go over. But there's still a lot of distrust here. And the goal is to set up the racket behind the incoming ball and don't hit it. Let me say that again. The goal is to not hit the ball. The goal is to line up the strings behind the incoming ball and leave the racket there. So no backswing, no forward swing or punch or whatever you want to call it. And so here, watch me do a couple of these. As the ball comes in, the goal is to leave the racket there. And notice what happens to the racket. By the way, this is one of the big variables. Also notice I'm having to move the racket. I'm receiving a feed from a ball machine. So it's not going to be a perfect feed every time. And so the racket's going to have to be moved upwards and downwards in order to intercept the ball just right. But I'm really proud of myself here. As the ball comes into the racket and I line up the racket, notice how there is zero forward movement. If you've never tried this before, and you probably haven't, this sounds very easy, very simple on paper. And I promise you, it is exceedingly difficult. We are just hardwired mentally and physically when the fuzzy yellow object gets close to our club object, it's just baked into our subconscious that we have to do something to hit the ball. And what's shocking to players over and over again when I have them do this, and you'll see my students' reaction in a second, that they realize all of a sudden in this moment, watch what happens. The ball goes over. I didn't do anything. What if there is a world where you could hit a good volley and do nothing? Now, just to meet this objection that you probably have in your head right now, head on, sometimes you should do something to the ball. Sometimes we do want additional force. Sometimes we do want additional pace. Sometimes it's the right play to hit the ball hard when we're up close to the net. So just to I know that. But if all you have is one end of the spectrum where you're just hitting everything with a really firm hand, a really closed racket face, and you have no awareness over where the ball is hitting on the strings. Those are our three things: angle of the strings, firmness of the hand, quality of contact. Most of you watching this video have very low awareness, and I don't mean this from a place of condescension. I'm just telling you based on my experience. Most of you have very low awareness of all three of those things, which is why coming up to the net is so frustrating for so many players, because they see the setup of the point and they understand that coming in should give them the advantage, but then they can't place the ball where they want. And they either make lots of errors and give away points, or the opportunity passes and they get lobbed or they get passed at the net because they weren't able to do what they wanted with the ball. So here's my next up. Here's my student, and you can see there's like a a little bit of skepticism here. She's like, okay, like this is ridiculous. This is kind of crazy. I'm asking her to open the face a little bit. Do no hitting. The open face is really important, and she does great here. Here, I'm gonna play a couple of these in real time first, and they look really clean, and they are. Like this is her first time ever trying this, but if you watch very closely, you'll see just a little bit of forward push, and that's okay. Like I don't need her to do it perfectly, and you'll see that just hitting the middle of the strings when doing nothing, no stepping, no punching, like no hitting of the ball, is very challenging for a lot of players. And so just learning how to line up the racket face with the ball accurately and precisely and get the ball to hit off the middle of the strings in and of itself is very challenging for a lot of players. You'll notice her racket is getting pushed back too, which is excellent. It means that her hand is relatively relaxed. And these all look really clean. It's a pretty good start. But watch, in reality, when we go slowly, this is why I was like so proud of myself. It's taken me a lot of practice. It's taken me a lot of demonstrating of this drill to be able to actually do nothing. But watch, her racket is actually going forward. Isn't that shocking after watching it in real time? In real time, it looks exceedingly like simple and clean. But in reality, she's actually moving the racket like a solid 4, 5, 6 inches to hit the ball. But this is a gigantic departure from what she was doing before, which was a classic step and punch kind of motion. And yet coaches are always constantly yelling at their students, stop swinging at the ball. This is a great way to just wipe the slate clean and learn how to control these variables from the ground up. So to demonstrate to her like how powerful this is, next, I had her go back away from the net. So look at her location now. Now she's like 3 or 4 steps away from the net. This is a more kind of realistic, kind of real life volley setup, right? And so now the open face is really important. And also making clean contact is very important. So look at the angle of the strings here, probably about, 20 degrees open or so. And she's still moving the racket forward a little bit. It's not much. Most of that movement is because of that little step that she's adding, which I didn't ask her to do, but that's fine if she's comfortable with that. The goal here mostly, though, is to minimize the independent movement of the hand and the arm. Take that off the table and learn from scratch how to control these very, very nuanced variables. So watch her do a couple of these. And if I remember correctly, all of these are going to go over the net. And watch how simple it is. And then watch her reaction. Like she's genuinely like shocked that it's work. Like holy, like it works. Like not only do I not have to do anything, but now she's starting. Like her mind is starting to get opened up now to how to adjust these variables. But in the moment, she was genuinely like baffled that she didn't have to hit the ball. Ladies and gentlemen, these modern, rackets with all these fancy materials and the fancy strings, they're engineered like to the nth degree to receive force and energy and send it back again without you having to do anything. So if you're within a couple steps of the net and you have an open court to one side of your opponent's side of the court, genuinely, a large percentage of the time, if you just get the angle right, you hit the ball clean, and you just don't complicate it any more than that, you're going to make the shot and you're going to win the point. But so many players are so obsessed with like trying to hit the best possible ball, they never learn how to have good control over the angle of the strings or the quality of contact or the firmness of their hand. I don't have time to unpack all that right now. If you'd like more details, we did more progressions than this. I started putting targets out and having her experiment, finding the right angle and the right firmness to hit a basket in a certain location on the other side. And again, she was blown away. This is a beginner tennis player. She was blown away that she could hit targets on the other side, whereas up until this point, it was just a totally random like results. She had no idea where the ball was going. And if you've been playing for decades, you probably think, I don't need to, like, I'm better than this. Like, I don't need to make it this simple. But I promise you, if you do this feel exercise, whole other parts of your brain and awareness will be opened up, and you'll realize, wow, I have so much control. And also, wow, I don't have to do hardly as much as I thought I did in order to hit a good shot up around the net. Hopefully that's helpful. This is an awesome student, and she did a great job doing nothing. You should try it too. Thanks for watching. Talk to you again soon.